Hello, and welcome back to Sounds of Silvestri, a chronological journey through the continuing filmography of Alan Silvestri. On today's episode, we'll be covering The Fifth Floor from 1978. My name is Clarence, but you can call me Robert Englund's Dracula Cape. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Grace, aka Dr. Benny.
Clarence, let's just fly away today.
I think that's a good idea. I think we can do it. I believe in us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about today. When this episode is coming out, the Oscars will have been over a week ago. So I don't think anybody cares anymore. But that has never stopped us from a discussion.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes.
The headline here is still no wins for Diane Warren. When will she get her moment?
You know, so today in the Discord, we were talking about people having dreams and wishes, and maybe they just remain unfulfilled, and that's okay. That's what makes us human. Human life inherently has tragedy and has discord, and there are things that like we can strive for but never achieve. And I think that's just a good life lesson to take away, maybe from Diane Warren's pursuit of a competitive Oscar.
I wish that she would take that lesson.
She won't.
No, she won't. She's already said that. You know, we were talking about this. She's already declared that she will be back next year with something new.
I do think her quest for the Oscar is compromising her songwriting ability. Like, I think she's so focused on winning that she has not. I don't want to say to put the proper time in, but I think her process has weakened because of her commitment to truly winning the award in a way that like maybe the creative juices aren't flowing quite the same way anymore.
No, I think there's no question about that. You can look at, I mean, really like the past 5 or 6 nominations and compare it to some of her first ones. And it's like, this is the same person? Like, this is what happened? And I think you're right. It's the strive has overtaken anything else. Mm-hmm. But like I said, she's pledged that she will return. She called herself the underdog, and then she amended that to say, can I be the undercat? I prefer cats.
Yes, you did send me that, and I did just go on with my day. I didn't feel like that needed any more discussion though. We already merited it.
When you were watching the ceremony and they got to that award, did you think for a moment that she might pull it off? Like there was a second where I was like, there's no way. But what if? Like, what if?
My what if was like, what if I lied to you on? That was my what if. My what if wasn't Diane Warren's going to pull it out of the bag in the 11th hour or whatever that phrase is. Like, it's just that never in my mind would I think she would have won this year. There might have been years in the past where like it could have been more of a potential, but not this year.
There's definitely a couple years where it's like, okay, maybe they should have given it to her. You know, maybe the Sam Smith James Bond song wasn't that great.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I think that was probably the most egregious one that she lost against. But yeah, I mean, recently there's no way. Even this year, if it wasn't Golden, it was going to be Sinners. Like there was no way that
she didn't even stand a chance. Yeah,
no.
Like it's lucky that she got nominated. Is what like that should be the takeaway this year.
And that's the thing, is the first year that she's not nominated after this streak is going to be, that's the headlines and the stories are going to be unbearable.
Diane Warren snubbed. Do we know what her next movie is that she's working on?
She probably doesn't even know at this point. It's like, well, I joked with you and Kev in our DMs that it's like, I look forward to watching Diane Warren even more relentless later this year. Like she just comes out with a sequel documentary about herself that is exactly the same, just as
Diane Warren
surface level.
Never stop dreaming. Yeah.
Oh, God. Once you've done a documentary about yourself and a song written for that documentary, like where do you go from there? I don't know that you can go back to getting nominations for regular songs. Like it just seems like,
well, they have to be good. Like they have to, like she has to go back to like it being a decent song, not like the flaming hot Cheeto moment. Like we're not going back to that. Like I think that's past its point. And I don't know why obviously like I just don't know why she keeps getting nominated. Like I know it's like there's politics involved and stuff like that. We talked about like maybe she's not great at that, but maybe it's like a pity nomination. I don't know. I just feel like there there are more deserving artists at this point who are at the earlier end of their career and maybe need this big break that a nomination would give them, that she's just been taking this spot and holding it. It's not to say she's not talented, but it's sort of, we're past the point.
She's talented, but is she talented enough to merit getting a nomination every single year since like 2017 or 2016?
No.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we talked about The Testament of Ann Lee, like any of those songs. And
yeah,
maybe it's a technicality thing where it's based on, shaker hymns, so maybe they can't. But I mean, I don't know. Any of those songs, I feel like deserved a nomination over this song that I can't even remember at the very end of the movie.
Dear Me, is that what it's called?
Something like that. Yeah, I know Kesha sang it. So.
And I saw that Diane was mad that like only a couple of the groups performed. Like, girl, get it together. Get it together. Yeah. You're not helping your case by complaining.
That's probably a reason why she's not winning. But if she's that off-putting, wouldn't she be off-putting enough that they don't bother to nominate her? Like, that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. It's just very strange. But all in all, how did you feel about the Oscars? How were you? Were you satisfied with the overall wins?
Yeah, I was. I think because last year it was so focused on one piece for the most part. I felt like, especially the drama, like I liked how spread out it was, and I felt like there were a lot of moments of great importance in terms of who won. I'm thinking of Autumn Durald Arkopa being the first woman to ever win a cinematography Oscar in 98 years, which is insane. So I think there were some really great steps, like historically, that were made. And then I think it was fun. It was like a little messy at points, but I think overall it was a fun night. Don't they start like an hour earlier now? Like they start at 7 as opposed to 8. And I feel like that makes a big difference because I feel like they're not as rushed getting in and out of there. And I think a lot of people were just happy to be there, which was really fun.
There were some moments where it felt like, man, this is a really tough crowd. Like they were like not reacting to any of the jokes. And I'm talking about like the AI jokes or the Netflix jokes in particular. And it's like, maybe they don't want to be caught on camera laughing at that.
Yeah. It's definitely a dicey line to toe. I also think I've seen a couple behind the scenes things, and I feel like a lot of people in the comments are just talking about how it just feels like a high school assembly at a certain point. And I was like, you're so right. Just like everyone's sort of milling around. Like it feels very of a piece with that.
That's my favorite part. I love cutting to commercial or coming back, and they have shots from the audience of just random celebrities mingling together. And there's a documentary that I watched. I forget which Oscars it was about. I think it was like a late 90s one. And it was breaking down like the whole week leading up to the production. And so they're talking about like how they pick where people are sitting. Like obviously for the best actor, the best actress nominees, you want them to be like right in the front. So
accessible.
They don't have to, right. They don't have to walk down like the entire row to get up there. There's certain personalities that clash, so you don't want them sitting together.
Yeah, that's really fascinating.
It definitely felt like they put all of the documentary nominees like in the balcony or something.
Yeah, I read something about that, but I can't remember what it actually was. But it was about how like that is just sort of where that seating is, and it's often people's first and maybe only experience of the Oscar, so they're making the most of it. If that part felt really like a high school graduation, where everyone's like hooting and hollering and they're having a good time, and it's not ruining the night, but some people are like annoyed about it. Like, I want footage. Where is Stellan Skarsgård with his little light up stick? Where is that? I need to see him. I feel like he had a good time at the Oscars. I feel like he was like
absolutely
just sort of enjoying life, and I feel like we see a pretty sullen Stellan at times, and it was nice to see him just sort of like have a ball,
Yeah. Sullen Stellan. That's good. It did. Yeah. It felt like, I mean, it's an odd contrast because obviously, and Conan addressed this a little bit in his opening monologue, but it's like, it is such a down moment in the country right now, but it felt like everybody was having a great time. Like it felt very light. Everybody was kind of joking with each other, and they had the audience moments for the musical segments. But all in all, it seemed like it was a really fun night. I would love to see the viewership numbers because we were all sort of watching this together in the 70mm Discord, and I think we were all having a good time. But then every article that I've seen has been like, it's this type of article that I hate where they pull like 3 tweets that people have made and they decide that that's the overall audience reaction.
That's
but
the
it's
story
like
we're going
everybody's
with, yeah.
calling it boring. It's like, I don't know. I thought it was pretty great.
We had fun.
I think Conan is a
yeah.
great pick as a host too.
I love Conan as a host.
Yeah.
Because he threads the needle very well between like making fun of himself and the movies, but also like appreciating the art. And I think we saw a really great in memoriam section as well. The people that we think of as Hollywood stalwarts are getting older and more people are dying. And I feel like a lot of the ones to come will be like that.
Yes.
I'm sort of assuming it's going to take another, like they're going to be longer and they're going to be more important. So that'll be interesting. I don't really know where I was going with that sentence, but yeah, I think this year is a little bit more locked in on the shorts. So that was fun. I still lost in terms of the best live action short or whatever, like the one with the tie was. Like I had picked one option and it was neither of the two that won. So that was really fun for my Oscar ballot. Did you do the ballot that we do in 70 millimeter?
No, I didn't do it because I felt like I kind of fell off on watching them.
Me too, but I still filled out the ballot.
I think I finished at like, I watched a third of the nominees or something, which is really funny because when they came out, I was like, well, there's only 50. I can.
No, you were really on it. You were like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was sticking to it for a while, but I just kind of fell off. I didn't feel that I had all the information I needed to do a ballot.
That's fair.
But for the main categories, like when I was watching it, I was calling them out in the room, and I had a pretty good success rate. So
nice.
I was happy with them for the most part. And I'll probably try to catch up at least on like the major awards. I'll try to catch up on those if I can, if I have time.
Yeah.
I did want to say, we always have this clearing the air segment in the beginning of the episodes. It feels like we always need to go back and clarify something. And
don't sound too happy about it. Yeah.
I know. Last episode, we were talking about lost media. Kev had a great VM asking us what our holy grail was. And I mentioned the SpongeBob episode, the lost episode or whatever. After the episode dropped, our friend Eric said that he was surprised that there was no mention of the SpongeBob Panty Raid episode.
Excuse me?
When we were discussing lost media, because famously, now you didn't watch a lot of SpongeBob, but there's an episode, I think it's season 2 or season 3. It's called Midlife Crustacean or something, and it's basically Mr. Krabs is having a midlife crisis, and so he decides that he's going to go out for a night on the town with SpongeBob and Patrick, and they're taking him to. They're doing all this dorky shit.
Does Mr. Krabs, does he have friends? Or just his employees?
Pretty much just his employees. He has his employees, and then he has like his frenemy relationship. His daughter, yeah, and he has a frenemy relationship with Plankton. And there's this whole backstory about how they were best friends growing up. But yeah, he basically his only friends are related to him or people he pays, which is not a great look. But so they go through all these dorky, childish things. And then he's like, I'm out of here. Like, you guys are losers. And just as he's about to leave, they're like,
I guess you're gonna miss the panty raid.
Like, you're talking about going into girls' rooms and stealing their underwear. And they're like, yeah. And they do that in the episode.
No. And that aired on television?
Oh, yeah. I remember watching it. And so around the time of the Me Too movement, for obvious reasons, they decided to pull that episode from syndication. And you also cannot find it anywhere on streaming anymore.
Okay, that's an interesting choice. Because then you're erasing the existence of it happening. And then that's, in a way, not owning up to the mistake of creating it in the first place.
Exactly. It's like if Disney just decided to pretend like none of their early racist cartoons
like Peter Pan doesn't
existed.
exist. Yeah.
Right.
You're not taking accountability. You
can still find it on the old physical media, obviously, but it is pretty much impossible to find otherwise now. So that was a good call out by Eric.
Yeah.
Because that is like a genuine lost media.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it should be lost. I don't know. It is kind of a crazy thing for a kid's cartoon.
Yes. And you could just have it still be available, but not put it through syndication.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a choice there that I don't think I agree with.
Put a little disclaimer at the beginning of the episode, like they do for Gone with the Wind or something.
Mm-hmm. Or like Zippity Doo Dah, whatever that. Is that the movie or is that the song? It doesn't matter.
Song of the South you're thinking of, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Zippity Doo Dah is the, yeah.
Well, maybe did they pull Song of the South? Actually, is that a bad example?
Yeah, they may. I think you may be right. It is not available on Disney Plus, and there are no plans to add it. Okay.
On my part.
It is.
But you get what I'm saying.
It is in the vault. I think that's the most that's
Censoring
the most
that they
prominent. Yeah. But no, the rest of the stuff, I can't think of another one.
Well, I think Peter Pan is always a little bit egregious. If they have like that sensitivity warning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have the disclaimer. So in that way, it's like, man, this Song of the South has to be really bad if they're not even willing to even put it out there.
I mean, I've never seen it. I don't know, but
no,
I
me neither.
can't imagine it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And we never will. It's in the vault and it'll stay there.
I'm sure someone has it ripped off on a DVD or something, or,
Yeah. Oh,
someone has it.
Yeah. They won't let you watch it anymore. This is what they took from us. Song of the South. Yeah, that whole shit.
Okay, I don't have time anyways.
We're too busy.
Uh-huh.
Well, speaking of busy, why don't we stop dilly-dallying and let's get into this episode's movie.
Yeah, let's do this.
A young disco-loving woman named Kelly is rushed to the hospital after suffering strychnine poisoning, something she insists was no accident but an attempt on her life. Nobody believes her. Instead, her fiancé pushes the narrative that it was a suicide attempt, and she's committed to a psychiatric facility against her will. Inside, every denial just sounds like deeper instability and paranoia, and the system isn't built to let her argue her way out. The other patients are a mix of sympathetic and volatile, and a predatory orderly named Carl takes a disturbing interest in her. When fellow patient Melanie succumbs to the abuse Carl inflicts and takes her own life, Kelly sees just how high the stakes are. She adapts, playing along just enough to stay safe while quietly testing ways out, making 2 escape attempts that only tighten the system's grip on her. In the end, survival matters more than sanity as she fights to stay alive and escape the 5th floor.
I don't know. I'm sad listening to that now.
I know it's a rough one.
It's a downer.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you like to talk about first?
Well, let's start with the score.
Mm-hmm.
We've moved on from the blaxploitation kind of grindhouse style of the earlier movies, and we're fully into the disco era now. Like this is a very
we are embracing
disco forward movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But almost like a subtle disco. Like I guess it's not the disco that when I think back on the 70s, this is not quite. I guess I'm thinking of maybe a more exaggerated version of disco than we actually get here, but that's probably just more true to the time period itself.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not the stereotypical disco that you would get in like a flashback sequence now with like full like but it's very disco. It's very disco.
Right off the bat too. Like that's how we open.
Yeah, right into it. That club looked fantastic.
It did look
bar.
fun.
Demons, but first of all, Demons is a great name for a bar.
And that neon light with the pitchfork, be a pretty sick patch.
It would be. Just throwing it out there. Just an idea. I messaged you the other day when I was watching this, and I said, we'll talk more about this in the episode, but this bar feels incredibly queer-coded. And I know you watched it. You broke it up into different viewings. Did you have that experience as well?
I don't think. I think because the secondary antagonist is like such like a toxic man, I hadn't like put it together that way. Like if I hadn't seen your message, I wouldn't have thought of it in that way. But I think the community itself in that bar does feel queer coded, but maybe the ownership doesn't feel queer coded. I don't know if
right.
I think there's a difference there. Which I mean, any bar has a difference between its clientele and its ownership. But
yeah, what was sticking out to me, what made that jump out in my mind was you've got the singer performing with not a rainbow flag, but definitely like a rainbow cape.
Yeah, definitely close enough.
Yeah, to the point where I'm looking at it like, is that a rainbow flag? No, it's just
I did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've also got right behind her, you have prominently on display a Village People album.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't help.
It does feel like signaling to the audience in a way
like
that
this,
they couldn't be super overt. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit before we get back into the score. I wanted to talk about the anti-disco movement and how we can, because there was a huge pushback against disco, and I think we can acknowledge now that a lot of it had less to do with the music and more with the sort of people who were seen to enjoy the music the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was definitely a lot of homophobia just below the surface of the anti-disco movement, a lot of homophobia and racism, because it became very popular. And it's like, it's what we see all the time, where something that how do I want to phrase this? Something that the people who had been in control for a long time didn't enjoy, something like that gaining popularity feels like an attack to them. And so it's like, well, we can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go back and listen to disco now. It's like, what were they so upset about? It's like,
it becomes such a pressure point, and it sort of feels bonkers, like, to reflect on it in that way, that it caused so much strife when it didn't need to
the point that they're having disco album burnings.
Yeah.
Like during the seventh inning stretch of baseball games. Like it's just
insane behavior.
It's just crazy. Like
don't listen. You don't have to listen.
Like exactly. Exactly.
It's the same thing with like banning books. You don't have to read that.
Right.
That is
exactly.
You can close it and put it down. It's not. It doesn't have. No, it's the what is it? The bean soup theory, where like you should be able to acknowledge that something is not for you and walk away from it. Not everything in life is tailored to you to you personally and your interests. You have to find what you like and find what you don't like, and that's like what happens with growth and just being your own autonomous person, to understand that not everything is served to you and served for you, created for you specifically.
It's a tough lesson, but it's one that people have to learn eventually. Once you turn 10, you have to learn maybe not everything's for me, and maybe I don't need to have this reaction.
And if you have siblings, maybe you're a little bit younger when you learn that.
Exactly.
It's not everything is for you. Yeah. I did want to mention during the dancing scene, when they pause and then they start dancing, it's a little freaky. It's a little like you're adding some weird tension there. It's like, let's do a couple moves.
Thought about that too.
Everyone freeze. Do it again.
It was weird too, because it didn't seem, at least to me, it didn't seem like they were doing it with the music. Like it wasn't during a pause in the music.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, they're all freezing.
Like
they're
group psychosis.
Throwing their hands up. Yeah. It was foreshadowing.
Setting the
scene. And
then
they do that later when they have their disco party in the psychiatric facility. They're doing the same sort of thing, like with the pausing. So I don't know if that was like a hallmark of disco dancing.
Style? Was that like Kelly's instruction? Because isn't she like the disco instructor? Or at least she was.
I wasn't sure what her job was.
I'm unsure of her role. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she's tearing up that dance floor.
Absolutely.
Until she's not.
Yeah, until she's having a seizure.
That was insane to witness. Like,
I liked the shot. She goes, because she's going from like you said, she's tearing it up, and then you can tell she's kind of like something is wrong. She's getting really sweaty, like she's holding her head. And I liked that shot because you can see everybody around her stops dancing and they're just like, they're becoming visibly concerned. Like, okay, she's not just dancing anymore. And then she just collapses. It's very distressing.
It is distressing. And then, not to jump ahead, but like she's in the ward for 4 days unresponsive, which is And what dose, like, was she given? Like, that's an insane time period to be knocked out for, or unresponsive for.
This is 90 minutes, and that was kind of the standard back then. If it was now, it would probably be like 2.5 hours. But I wish we had like a little bit more of that period before because it jumps from the seizure to, okay, it's 4 days later, she's becoming a little more responsive, and now we're sending her to the 5th floor.
You want more scene setting and a little bit more of like stakes within the bar, I guess, because I think we're shown everything super quickly. Like we see like Kelly, she's late to work. She's sort of broken up with Ron, and so there's that. And she's like, we learn that she doesn't drink a lot, but she downs the drink that was her name Francine or something. We see that her take that drink, and then in the background you see that there's a fund for her to get Kelly through college. So there's like a lot there in really quick moments, but it would help raise the stakes a bit if we truly are able to process Hal dosing the drink and then like the intention for it to be for Francine. I guess maybe that would be more helpful. I don't know, but I think it would add another element there that maybe it's lacking. Because when he sets the drink down, it's fully between the two girls, and it's like, well, of course Kelly might think that's for her because it's like almost on her side of the bar anyway. Yeah,
he doesn't indicate at all. Were you surprised at the end by the reveal that it was the bar owner who poisoned her? Do you think that was meant to be a surprise, or was it like a dramatic irony thing?
That's a good question. I think because I watched this in chunks. I watched the first little bit like while I was getting ready for work today. So like I didn't quite catch. I saw her grab the drink, but I didn't see him pour it. So I sort of did need that bit at the end to be like, oh, it is Hal, because I just hadn't caught it. But I watched it back again this afternoon, and it's very obvious that it was him.
He's like shooting daggers at her.
And I just like why didn't he say anything? Like he just watched her drink. He could have been like, oh, like let me get you a different glass, or he could have just snatched it away. And it would have been weird for a second, but he wouldn't go to jail for it, which would have been like an awkward moment at work. And he wouldn't have inadvertently poisoned someone he didn't want to poison. Like poisoning, obviously bad, but I mean, like for it to be against his intended target, like he messed that up as well.
Right.
A double whammy.
Really, all he does to dissuade her from drinking it is saying, well, you don't drink. But then he doesn't do anything else to say. He's like, and then he just watches as she goes out there.
And we see him watch. It's not even like... It's not even like he turns away and then she drinks it. It's like he is staring at her and we're staring at him, staring at her. Like we get it. I have a lot of feelings about this film. We're drifting a bit from the music. Do we want to go back to the music, or because like my thoughts on the music aren't very strong. It's just sort of like it's there. It's sort of rudimentary, and it's a little bit more disco than before. But there isn't anything that really stood out to me. And he didn't have any involvement with the song at all. So there's also nothing to really write home about there.
Yeah, it was like disco standards, basically. Yeah, I had one other thing about that moment at the bar, and it was that one of the other bar patrons sees her quickly down the drink, and then she offers up her drink as well.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really cute.
She knows that she's going through it. Yeah, because she's like, you just talking about how she broke up. Yeah.
And then I had a couple, just like, I didn't have very much for the score either, because it was another example where there wasn't very much of a score. Like there were long periods where there was nothing whatsoever.
Exactly.
But I did just have a couple minor things here. One of my notes was that we have a return of the bongos/congas, although it was a lot more restrained than in last episode.
Sort of maybe a more elegant iteration of the use, and like, you know what I mean. It wasn't as frenetic.
Yeah, it was layered in a little better.
Yes, there we go. It was blended.
And then there was another callback to his work on the Doberman Gang. There was
the scratching.
The scratching, yes, and there was a sting that was very similar to one from the first bank robbery. It was like. The only other note I had about the score was that I really appreciated the couple of moments when the score was like super linked with Kelly. Like we're really feeling her emotions. Like the example that stuck out to me was when she's in the hydrotherapy and Carl is trying to drown her, which is a tough scene. And it starts really frantic, and then it kind of slows down as she's starting to lose consciousness from the trauma of being.
He does a lot of interesting things with tempo that we maybe haven't seen before.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed those points. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was not sticking out much in my mind. There were a couple other points where it almost reminded me of something that I would have heard in like a classic episode of The Twilight Zone.
Like generic suspense or horror.
Exactly. Okay, well, we can jump ahead a little bit. Did you have what was one of your major points?
How do I articulate this? It is so insanely frustrating and terrifying to see how easily it is to lose your autonomy as a woman, especially because we think we're a little bit further removed from this than we are, and we're honestly not that far away. The fact that the people who run the psychiatric ward can do whatever the hell they want to you,
right,
in the name of like bettering you, is horrifying. In my review, I recommended that people check out the book The Woman They Could Not Silence by Kate Moore, which is about institutionalization in the United States. I'd also recommend the classic 10 Days in a Madhouse by Nellie Bly. And then there is one set in the from the 70s called Ward 81, voices by Mary Ellen Mark, who she was a photographer. And she went to, I think it's the same ward that One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is based on. And there's photos and interviews from 1976 with those patients, and that's in like a big photo book. And I just think it's important to understand this history because it is so kept in the shadows, because it is so heinous, and I wouldn't say illegal because technically it was allowed by law, but inhumane. So I really find it hard to treat this story in a way that serves the film without being frustrated by the narrative that it is pervading. Does that make sense?
I mean, there's no logic. There's no institutional logic to any of it. Like, even just the sort of reasoning that they give to initially institutionalizing her. Okay, so they think that Kelly tried to kill herself. First of all, if you were poisoning yourself with strychnine, would you choose to go out to a crowded club after taking that dose? Like, would that be
so?
Right. And then the doctor escalates her initial 72-hour commitment to 2 weeks after a single episode.
Well, and it's the fact that Ron, who she is in theory broken up with, is allowed to make these decisions for her because he's just the only one that's there is insane. So it's like if you break up with someone and it ends really badly, if something happens that night and you're committed and that's the only person they have to contact, they're allowed to just rule your life with whatever malice or ill intent they want.
And they make no effort whatsoever to find out if she has any other family. Like, the doctor asks sort of offhand, and Ron is like, well, she's not good with her family. And they don't they don't follow up with that.
Well, and ostentatiously there's an investigation happening as well, but no one ever really asks her what's happening. And like, we don't see them. I don't think we see the police interact with her in any way. But later we hear that things have been taken care of, but yet no one's come to free her.
Exactly. So she's not informed in any way. Yeah, that I found that part really disturbing as well. I mean, involuntary commitments. That's like one of my biggest fears. Like, that concept is just horrifying. And I know in some cases, it may be necessary, but it feels like it's misused so frequently.
Well, and then like it escalates so quickly from her having some autonomy within the institution and then later being her escaping, right? Is that what happens? And then she is forced into electric shock treatment, which fully rewires your brain in a way that you can't necessarily come back from. And it's just another way to make sure that you as a patient are docile and unproblematic. So that makes their lives a little bit easier because they're not looking, it's all about control. And I think what's really interesting about Cal's character is that he pretends to not have autonomy in this moment. He's like, oh, it's my orders. Like, I've been told to do this.
Everything is doctor's orders. Yeah,
exactly. And it's just like, take ownership for your own actions. I mean, they're horrific. And I'm glad he dies.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm so tired. Maybe this is just like real life pouring in, but I'm just so tired of people not taking accountability for their own actions when they do harm over and over and over again by scapegoating an order or like a higher up that in theory gave them the power to do so. But that's not, you are still your own person, even if you're following orders, and you can refuse things even if you're following orders. And it's just it's just a symptom of society, and I hate it. I hate it so much because no one wants to be accountable.
Well, it's no fun to be accountable when you can push it off on somebody else
and subjugate others.
Exactly. Yeah. Always got to do that. So when they first introduced Carl, you're like, okay, he's just a regular orderly. And then they make the switch pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the first sign is he tells Kelly that it's time for a shower and that he's required to be present, doctor's orders. And then cut to him calling her the prettiest girl that he's seen on the 5th floor.
And like,
immediate
we know
red
it's such a fucking line. Yeah.
And then, we have the mantra of every asshole creep after their altercation in the shower. He says, well, it was just a joke. Can't you take a joke?
Oh my God.
Shut up. It's like, oh God, I hate you so much. And then this is later on in the movie, but I made a note that a further sign that Carl is a bad guy is he offers Kelly a Hershey bar, and he has one as well. And he takes a bite out of it instead of breaking off individual pieces, which is a psychotic thing to do. And just obviously not the worst thing he does in the movie, but another sign that he's not a good person.
I mean, it's not as bad as like taking a bite out of a Kit Kat. Like that. I think is more egregious if we're talking about like candy bar sins, I guess.
I don't know if I was reading this wrong, and you can correct me, but there's a point after the shower moment where the head nurse is like reprimanding him, and he seems to imply that the head nurse is maybe a lesbian and is using that to blackmail her. I wasn't sure because we don't really...
Did you write the line down?
It was something like, how are you and Nurse Whalen getting along, or something like that. And he's kind of like looking at her with a suggestive look. But now they don't really tell us what any of the other nurses' names are. So that could be one of the other guys. I don't know. But it just felt to me like maybe that was the implication.
Is he called nurse ever, Carl? Or is he just an orderly? Like, do we have his title?
I think he's just an orderly, yeah.
Okay, so then I would think it would be a woman then.
Okay.
And maybe it's like, I don't remember the line. So it could be like an implication at illicit lesbian acts or whatever. Or it could be just like an implication at jealousy. Like, because we see that one woman who sort of lets I keep calling Carl get away with things. Because like when he slips away to like go to see Kelly at one point, like she sort of is like, oh, I'll cover for you. So I can't speak to whether it's like a jealousy thing or like a lesbian thing. I don't know. It could be either. I'm just not certain.
Yeah, and maybe that was just in my head because of my feelings about the bar. Maybe that was already in my head. So it's like,
well, I mean, it could be true. I mean, am I crazy? Is Nurse Ratched a lesbian? Am I crazy? Is that real?
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. She might be. I don't know.
Or maybe she's just played by Sarah Paulson in one iteration, and that's what I'm putting on that.
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe in the TV show they they take that angle.
Okay, well,
I wouldn't know. I've never watched it, so
I haven't either. It's so frustrating to witness, and it's just all it's all of the power structures interwoven in a way that makes it so impossible for anyone to ever get out.
Yes.
I mean, same with like Shawshank Redemption, where it's like he's God, what's that character's name? Red. He's like on parole time after time again, and you just know he's not going to get out. Right. But it's like you have to go through the whole process and the promises and like the expectation of like, or the assumption of like going through the process in a legal way and like making it work for the inmates. But he's never going to be free of that place at a certain point.
Exactly. And it's so depressing too, because you can see every other patient they recognize what's going on. Like they're telling her, like, I think there's even a line that's like, once that door closes, it never opens again. Like they know they're stuck there. There's nothing that they can do, no matter how you could have been perfectly sane when they threw you in there, but
the way that they treat you, you're not coming out the same. I think about Melanie. Oh my God. Yeah. That poor woman. And she goes through everything. And like the people that come visit her, is it her husband and his girlfriend? Like they are not supportive. And it's just like, they're just coming to rub their success and their love in her face. And just, she has no one at a certain point. And she's trying so hard to be positive, but they keep shocking her, and and eventually she breaks. And I knew when I saw her making that rope in that craft room, like I just knew that it was not going to end well. And that was so harrowing to witness. And just like for the people who have been there for ages, like it's just, they've probably seen that so many times, because Kelly's only, do we have a total amount of time that Kelly is there? for?
90 days. Yeah, 90 days.
And just think about like so much happened in those 90 days.
Yes.
That these people who have been there for years have seen so much worse constantly.
I'm glad you brought up Melanie's husband coming to visit, because I wrote that down too. It's like he brings, his mistress or his new girlfriend with him to visit her, and then he gets upset when she's lashing out. Like, what do you expect to happen?
And the way that Melanie talked about it, it seemed like he had brought this woman around while she was still there with him, and like their kids were there, and like he's just like sleeping with her like out in the open is sort of the way I feel like it was implied.
Right. And then he committed her. Again, it's a control thing. Yeah.
There is a lot of good writing in The Woman Who Could Not Be Silenced by Kate Moore about how eager and accessible it was for how eager the husbands were to commit their wives and how easy it was to do that. It's like in one of the first chapters. I think that's really important. Oh, but also during that visit scene, like Ron or whatever brings flowers, but then his name isn't Cal, Carl inserts himself in that conversation again. Like he can't even let Kelly be alone for 2 minutes. And then he's like, oh, time to go. And it's been simply no time at all.
And Ron, rather than seeing, I mean, she tells him straight up, like, that man tried to rape me. Yes. And you can see he doesn't have concern. He's almost like jealous of Carl coming over and taking the flowers. And then he does not react to that in any way. He's like, oh, honey, you're just paranoid. It's like, no, God, this guy sucks.
In his ideal world, he wants to have that type of control over her.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When she's meeting with the head psychiatrist and she's trying again to explain that, like, I don't belong here. I'm being mistreated. And he's basically, just gaslighting her and shutting her down. And there's a line that he says that made me so angry. And he's like, well, I did make it through medical school. And it reminded me of a joke that is, what do you call a person who's bottom of their graduating class in medical school?
A doctor.
A doctor, exactly. Like, you made it through medical school. Whoop-de-doo. Like, that doesn't mean you're more aware of what this person is going through.
Oh, one of the lines when she first meets with him, and he talks about how it's voluntary, but if she doesn't comply, he'll have to commit her anyways. And it's just like, it just shows how fucking twisted the system is and how it's all created to control. And I have a lot of thoughts, but nothing really concise right now. I'm just angry. I'm angry for this character. I'm angry for the women who this character is based on and for the people who had to go through this and had no say in it. And I don't really know the state of psychiatric care in this country at the moment. I can't imagine it's good. I don't think anything is good. When I was at my undergrad, we did a play that was called The Ghosts of Miami, and it was about different places or locations on campus and different ghosts that inhabited the space. And there used to be an asylum on campus that they turned into dorms and then they eventually shut down. And it was centered on 4 women who had all been committed, and the actresses who played those women actually got to go into the asylum and like through they got to go through like the back tunnels where they would bring patients in, and they just said it was a really, really freaky experience. And then at my brother's undergrad, there's this huge asylum that was there that they now use for like environmental testing or whatever. But it's just like it's so entrenched in communities in a way that I think we so easily wish to ignore. And so we don't dig into that history anymore. But I just think about like how many unmarked graves are there of people who were committed and then never seen again, like or heard from again.
Just forgotten about. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very sad. It's tough to make it through this movie without that being like your primary takeaway, like how fucked
and
up this all
it's nothing about like the actual sentiment and the execution of the story. I'm just so like caught up in what it's actually representing and the people it's highlighting in real life. And I think it's just really hard to get over. And like I don't want to get over it. Like I should be mad about this, but I think it's just I can't separate the two because it's highlighting a really strong injustice that I think I maybe in person like I don't think I think about it enough. And so like this was a good avenue to then reignite those thoughts and those concerns. But I think also I can't separate the story from the narrative it's telling. But yeah, just a lot of despicable people in this. And then, but then there's also some really great characters. Like
I was going to bring that up, so I'm glad
there's just such a strong sense of community, I feel like. In One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I think there was community, but it was more tentative. But because this is one character thrown into like an already sort of vibrant asylum community, and it's co-ed. in a way that maybe is like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is not co-ed, right? It's just
it's just gender. It's guys only. Yeah.
There are moments where like they're allowed to have fun, like they're allowed to like have a birthday party, and they're allowed to do crafts, and they're allowed to like let loose until one person or someone deems that they've infringed upon a code that shouldn't have been broken. But like they're having a great time. Like Kelly's leading them in like dance lessons, and it's fun, and like they're having a good time. And then all of a sudden you're brought back down to the reality of this is a version of hell for them in its own way.
This is a tiny respite, but yeah, it is just, it's the exception. Like the rule of their everyday life is awful.
Who's the character who's pregnant? Do you remember her name?
Oh, that is Kathy.
It is comical that the first time we see Kathy, like that's clearly a pillow under her shirt.
I was
like,
that's exactly what I said. Kathy's fake pregnant tummy looks like a throw pillow stuffed under her shirt. That's exactly what I wrote down.
And I think they might have gotten something later on, but that it's so clear. Like that, it's a square. There's a square shape there.
Yes,
like,
it is. Yeah, and then like Kelly is like putting her hands on it. It's like firm. There's no like that is not. That's not a stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that character was that was like a moment of levity where I was like, okay, I'm laughing at this. I really liked her character, and I liked that she was able to be set free, hopefully. But I really loved Benny. I loved Benny and his willingness to, like, we first see Benny pretending to be a doctor, and he shows more compassion to Kelly than anyone else does in the whole movie, it seems. He is willing to take risks for Kelly because he knows that he has no chance himself to get out. I thought the moment where he and Kelly sort of plan how to escape to get Kathy out to the ambulance is really smart. A little frisbee toss that's a little bit too long. I think that works. And I don't know, I was just really happy to see a character that was like on her side in a way that like felt actionable. Like he could make a change.
No, I put that in my review that I found myself wanting a lot more time with the self-described loonies because you
like the tertiary characters.
Right. Her rapport with like Benny and Melanie and Kathy and the other patients is so wholesome. They immediately, like there's some tension in her first scene because she knows that she doesn't belong there. And so she comes into it with like preconceived notions of the people who are in a psychiatric hospital. But then once she becomes part of the community, they are immediately accepting her. Because she recognizes that these people are probably being treated the exact same way that I am, like this abuse, and they're all trying to help her. And it's just, I really wanted more of that community.
It's not me against you, it's us against them. It's sort of like the resounding thought, I think. Is it Sophia, the one who it's her birthday and then they laid the trap for Carl? I thought that was funny.
Yes. Yeah, that was really funny.
Ethically, maybe not the best thing, but that's not the worst thing that's happening in this movie.
No, absolutely. And I think, again, if this were made today, it would be a lot longer. But I wanted more of the backstories of the other patients, like especially Benny and the guy who thinks he's from space. Like, I want to know what their deal is,
There's an added depth to those portrayals and those characters that we're not seeing, but I think they really help sort of weave the fabric of the film in a way that makes it richer. And I wanted to keep watching for them because I think they're fun. And I think they had a lot of heart and care for Kelly as a character as she's experiencing the worst thing in her life.
Did you have a favorite tertiary character?
It's Benny. Benny's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I really like Melanie, but her story is so sad.
Tragic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to like reflect fondly.
I mean, the end of her storyline really overtakes everything else. I really liked Magda, who was the one who's always like chain smoking and kind of acting out. She's wearing this great t-shirt in her first scene. It's the classic "Look how far you've come, baby" cigarette ad when they were first like when they were marketing cigarettes as like a women's lib thing. There's a funny shot later during Sophia's birthday party when they're all disco dancing. Carl and Kelly are talking in the foreground, and then Magna is dancing in the background, and she's like flipping the double bird at Carl the whole time.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's just little stuff like that. I really loved.
It felt very like character perfect. Like it was like, of course she would do that. Yeah.
And she's not just flipping like she's dancing with it, like she's blowing kisses with the double bird. I was like, I love that.
Yeah. Could we talk about the field trip to the zoo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I guess great that that's something they want to try and do. Like, not keep them locked up the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But a zoo where, like,
Yeah.
a wide open space, that's an interesting choice.
Well, a zoo in the 70s, too, when safety was not what it is
paramount.
now. Like,
yeah.
Right. Like there's the scene where I think they're all looking at a gorilla or something, and the fence is so low to them. Like they could I was genuinely worried, like when Carl is threatening her, I'm like, oh, he's about to throw her in the gorilla enclosure.
It's a pre-Harambe fence. Yeah, we're not gonna get out of there.
I don't know. And they only have like 2 orderlies for all these people on the trip.
And they're not like the biggest people either. Like the orderlies, I'm like, you can only grab one person at a time.
Right.
You're not grabbing 3 folks to like try and control them. I do think that it's like when Kelly runs, she is not running fast enough. Like not like I'm a fast runner, but like, girl, you're fighting for your life right now. You gotta pick up the pace.
Thankfully, neither is Carl. Like he's
not that
barely
worried.
Breaking a sweat. Yeah. He's like, we'll find her. Who cares? So that's her first escape. She escapes when they're at the zoo, and then she finds her way back to her house. And our friend of the show and future guest Kev has been really stuck lately on the idea that at the 1 hour mark of a 90-minute movie, like something dramatic has to happen that makes a big change. He calls this Kev's Law. And so I was watching for that on this viewing.
What happened in Kev's Law this go around?
So it wasn't quite at the 1 hour mark, but at the 56-minute mark.
Close enough. Yeah.
Kelly is home, and she realizes that Ron does not believe her and is buying into the idea that she's paranoid. And then she's readmitted to the 5th floor. That happens at the 56-minute mark.
Ugh. Are the other floors, do you think they're all psychiatric wards, or do you think that there are other things happening in the hospital?
That's a good question, because it is just the 5th floor of the general hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. So who knows? Like, is the 5th floor like maybe 2 through 4 is like a lower level psychiatric, or like is there
like
is there a level
ICU,
above?
Yeah.
Right, exactly, or the ICU where she was.
It could go either way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is there something worse than the 5th floor? I guess it would have to be like a rubber room or something. Which I was surprised that we don't see in this movie, because I feel like that's
such a staple.
Yeah, a staple, exactly. We do see straitjackets, but no, there's no rubber room.
The straitjacket scene, that's upsetting. When she escapes and she goes to the bar, and she grabs her college fund to give to Kathy and Benny. And we don't know what happens to them. Hopefully they got away fine, but like we don't know. Because I'm assuming if the ward folks were thorough enough, they'd just be like, okay, let's check all the hospitals where someone's going into labor.
Right.
And then the 2 policemen show up, and then her friend Jen is just like watching this happen. Like she doesn't intercede. And so Jen has told us that the other 2 have been arrested for the crime.
She knows that she was poisoned.
Hal was wanted to poison Francine because Francine knew that he was embezzling money. So there is like due cause. Like we have a motive. We have like the execution and how it went wrong. Why isn't Jen stepping in it? Like maybe it's like it wasn't the right moment. I can understand that. Like we get so many shots of her just looking. No,
that was frustrating.
Yeah.
I hated that scene too, because I mean, it just goes back to what we were talking about earlier, but like they don't ask any questions. Like they just take Carl's word. They're like, well, help me.
He's like, take her.
She escaped. Yeah. Help me put this straitjacket on. They're like, well, yeah. Okay. That's all we need to know.
Are we surprised?
Exactly. Exactly.
But it's like, it's just so frustrating. It's like, because you can see in the first part of the movie how like Jen was like looking out for her. And it's like, why do we just lose all of that in this scene?
We learn at the end through text on the screen and like a freeze frame that Ron started the process, court order to get her released. It's like, I would have loved to see that, because that's not where I thought it was heading at all. We're given no indication that he would do that.
You're like, oh, he's the asshole who just left her in there.
Right.
But it does give his character some redemption in that way, but we're not privy to that.
We don't see it. Right. Mm-mm. There was another point when she makes her escape the first time and goes home. I thought that it was going to be my least favorite trope, which is when somebody returns home to a house that they share with somebody else and it's unusually quiet. there's two possible options. Either they're about to walk in on their spouse cheating on them,
I thought that was going to happen.
or the spouse is dead. So I thought that we were going to see that Ron is cheating on her, and that's why he's so committed to keeping her locked up.
Even if we didn't see them, I thought we were going to see like a purse that's not hers, or like a dress,
Right.
you know, things that like
Right.
they might not be there themselves, but like their effects are. So I was surprised when that didn't happen. I'll be honest.
I was happy that it didn't, because I was like, okay, well, I felt like I had figured it out. So I was pleased when they did something different with it.
It's not really tropey, I guess, because I think it could really easily fall into horror movie tropes or like asylum movie tropes, and like I haven't seen really a ton to like compare, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It feels, I guess, fresh in a way that it took some turns I didn't expect it to.
The concept itself is horrifying, so it's horror in that sense. But other than a few moments, it didn't strike me as like a classic horror film. Like, it felt more dramatic to me. I don't know if you had that feeling.
Yeah, I think more suspense than horror. Yeah, I mean there are some gross moments, but gross in terms of like the morality, and as opposed to like physical gore. I mean there is like a moment that is gory, but a little well, not even gory. It's just like gross. It's not gory, but yeah.
I had a couple of lines that just kind of struck me as funny. Before we find out that Carl is an abusive, like, controlling asshole, there's a scene where they're walking away and he starts to say, you know something, when I was in Vietnam, and then it cuts off in like a really funny way.
Yeah. It's like no one wants to hear that. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, what could he possibly, when I was in Vietnam, it's like, okay, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
And then there's another funny line, not even really funny, but just kind of really, where when they're playing the prank on Carl that you mentioned after the birthday party, and she's like, I'm over here, I'm on the table. And he's like, Jesus Christ, you're kinkier than I am.
Yeah.
Like that. That's sure. That's kinky. Okay, sure, Carl.
Yeah. And what was he expecting? The floor? Just stand? Like, I don't know. It's just like, okay.
On the linoleum tile. Yeah.
Do we get the character of the guy who kills him? Do we know that character's name?
Derek, I believe is his name.
Derek, yeah.
Yeah.
Pour one out for Derek. He's a real one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great turning point for him, because when we first see him, he's yelling at Kelly, he's calling her a slut, and then
forgot about that. Yeah,
it's intimated that he killed somebody and his dad is a higher up or something, and that's the only reason why he's not in prison.
Yeah,
yeah, he saves the day at the end.
He used his powers for good.
He stabs Carl with the tiniest set of scissors I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like sewing scissors. Like, they're so small.
Yeah.
They're probably really sharp, though.
Oh, absolutely. And he got him in the gut.
Yeah.
Just enough. So
perforated the stomach lining. Stomach lining, yeah.
It's implied that he killed somebody before, so he knew what he was doing.
Been there, done that, yeah. Maybe that's his MO, just scissor stabber. Again,
see, if this had been longer, we could have gotten the whole backstory on Derek, what his deal was.
Yes. There
were a couple of cast members who I wanted to call out.
Okay.
So first of all, we have Alice Nunn. There's like two older women patients. There's Sophia, and then I don't know if we get the name of the other one, but she's the other one. Her most notable role is she played Large Marge in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And this is actually our second Pee-wee cast member on this show. Our first was Simi Bo from the Doberman Gang, who played Sammy. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Simi Bo is the one who explains the legend of Large Marge. So we've gone like full circle here.
Wow, a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Another one, we had Sharon Farrell, who played Melanie, who I think we both agreed was a fantastic performance. Just
she
a heartbreaking.
So good. Like when it's after her most recent like electric shock treatment, and they're having to ask for the questions. She is absolutely outstanding. Where you can feel that she knows that she should know what it is, and she can't. It won't come to her mind. Oh, it's so heartbreaking. And
you can see how much it's upsetting her, because they start with, okay, what's your address? And she can't quite get that. And then they're like, what are your children's names? And she can't get that either. And you can see she's going from, okay, well, my address is one thing. I should know the names of my kids, and I can't pull it. And it's so, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that actress, she suffered an embolism in 1970 that caused her heart to stop for 4 minutes.
In 1970? So before this
In
film?
1970, yes. So before this movie, and it led to serious brain damage, memory loss, and physical impairments. And she kept this all a secret for years because her friend Steve McQueen told her that if this ever got out, like, that's it, your career is going to be over.
Yeah.
So leading up to her role in this movie, that's what she was going through. She was like going through therapy and getting back to this performance, which I think is fantastic. And I think the fact that just 8 years before this, she had, basically been dead for 4 minutes and then had to struggle back. I think it just speaks to what she's able to portray.
Mm-hmm. I have some info on Diane Hull. I don't know if you looked into her at all. She gained notoriety when she was in Elia Kazan's The Arrangement. But she is also an acting teacher, and she and her mom both taught. They both like work within this Lee Strasberg Institute, which I think is interesting.
Oh, sure.
But she and her mom both believe in cryonics. And her mother was cryopreserved by the Alcor Life Extension Foundation in January 2022.
Okay.
Isn't that an odd little...
That is... And Diane is still around?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But when she goes...
she's going to be cryopreserved, yeah.
Wow. That is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I always wonder how people make the jump into that sort of belief.
Yeah, determine that? Yeah.
Right. Of all the out there beliefs and associations that you could have living in Hollywood, I guess that's not the worst one.
No, I guess
she could be a Scientologist.
It's probably the least harmful to other people. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It seems like the most like personal, problematic belief. Did you want to talk about any of the other cast members? I know there's some other facts about some of them.
Oh yeah, there was one more. We talked about the guy who thinks he's from space. His name is Earl Bone. He's mostly known as... Have you seen any of the Terminator movies?
I have seen the Terminator movie. I've seen the first one.
He is he's in the original trilogy. I don't know if he's in any of the other ones, but he is Sarah Connor's psychiatrist who's trying to convince her that, like, you didn't really see this guy from the future sent back to kill you. And he will return later in this podcast when we cover My Stepmother is an Alien. I'm not sure what role he plays, but he is in that movie. So we will see Earl again.
And I was wondering, do you want to talk more about our friend Robert Englund?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a few years before he would make himself a household name by playing Freddy Krueger. And before this, he had done other sort of B movies. He did a couple movies with Roger Corman's production company. I've seen one or two of them, and he is definitely the highlight. But yeah, I think he did some amazing work here.
His character has such compassion. Yeah.
Yes. And he portrays that so well. And he's kind of the comic relief. He's doing the Dracula voice, or when he's dancing and he's got his little Mickey Mouse t-shirt on. I thought that was really cute.
Yeah. His green trench coat that he wears everywhere. Yeah, big fan of that.
Yeah. I love Robert Englund. He's so great. That's another one. We were talking about the In Memoriam. When he dies, I am going to be so distraught.
Because there are some performers who are so iconic, but for a niche genre. And it's like, how are they honored? Will they be honored in a special way? Will they not? I guess it depends on how and when and how many other people are there to mention as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's a member of the Academy. Isn't that normally how it goes? But then I also thought, like, wasn't Pauly Sorvino, wasn't he also not nominated? Or not nominated, not recognized? Am I misremembering that? I don't know. I feel like...
No, I think that's right. I think that's right. And then Vanderbeek wasn't...
that's actually my coworker
wasn't memorialized
this week
either.
About. Yeah, that. Yeah. And because I was like, well, maybe Vanderbeek wasn't in the Academy, but there are other people who I guess aren't that...
Right.
Also
yeah.
Recognized.
Yeah, that's a good point, because he's mostly known for Freddy, and he's done some other genre stuff. Yeah, he is more of a niche character actor, so he probably wouldn't get the sort of call out that maybe a larger leading actor would, but me personally,
Yeah, oh
I
no,
will
understandable.
Yeah.
Well, I also think because like this year, like there were some really big names, but also like Rob Reiner, obviously a huge name, but then also like a very tragic way of how his life ended. And then you have like Robert Redford, who did so much for independent cinema. And then you have Diane Keaton, and Catherine O'Hara, who like paved the way in comedy and drama for women to sort of gain more acclaim and more recognition in like powerful roles. So I just think maybe it depends on the niche that they're trying to highlight. But there were some true powerhouses this year that's why I think they got something a little not extra special, but like more recognition than just like a flash on a screen.
Yeah, we lost some great people. I had a couple of other crew members as well that went on to do bigger and better things after this. So the first one that I had was James Winburn. He had a great 1978. He did this movie, the stunts for this movie, and the original Halloween in 1978.
Wow.
And then he made the correct career path, and he became one of John Carpenter's like go-to stunt guys. He did The Fog, he did Escape from New York.
Okay, so he was set.
So he was like, do I want to stick with the guy who made this movie, Howard Avedis, or do I want to stick with John Carpenter? I think he made the right pick.
Yeah.
And then another stunt person, there was Leslie Hoffman. And she would later work with Robert Englund again on the original Nightmare on Elm Street, but she also did stunts on a bunch of other movies, including Airplane, Christmas Vacation, Scream 2, and one of your favorites, Clue. She did stunts on Clue.
Oh my God, so exciting.
And then one other one, we had Daniel Pearl, who did the cinematography here. And he also was the cinematographer on the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, the 2009 Friday the 13th remake, and he also did cinematography on a number of concert films, including at least 3 for Mariah Carey that I could find. So
wow, okay.
So he's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, that's like a niche subset he chose, but no, the concert films truly threw me. Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, it's a odd trajectory to go from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to concerts for Mariah Carey. But yeah, she found her guy, and she's like, that's Daniel Pearl. That's who I want. Did you have any other major or minor notes?
My one minor note is when what's her face, Kelly, is dancing at the bar the first time. She has that little chicken wing dance move, which I think is really funny. Yeah. She keeps it, elbows out, guys, elbows out.
Yep. Elbows out and thumbs out. Yeah.
I don't know if I have anything else. I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting, but I think Diane Hall did a great job of looking pale. I feel like she's a lot of like pale, vapid, not vapid, but energyless kind of acting that she does, which she does really well.
Yeah, I found that interesting, especially in the scenes with her and Melanie, because Melanie has been in there for so long and she's got a great tan, whereas Kelly is like, she's been there for 2 weeks at that point, and she's like chalk. She is so
You're so right.
pale.
Melanie does have a great tan. It is kind of crazy.
She's got a great tan, and she's got a great curly head of hair.
Yes,
it looks great.
Curly grow routine not needed, I guess. Like.
I was watching this on Amazon Prime, and I don't know if the subtitles were auto-generated or what the deal was, but there were a couple of points where it was just what they were saying was not at all what Amazon was telling me.
Yeah,
so
that's
there was
what I caught too. Yeah.
There was one point where the subtitles misheard the ECT room as the Eastern Tea Room.
Yes.
Which really confused me. I was like, why would they have that in a... Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, weird place for a rendezvous. Yeah.
And then she goes to the room. Oh, I'm like, okay. ECT. Sure. Electroshock. Sure. That makes more sense than Eastern Tea.
They just wanted to celebrate other cultures.
I was fully on board with that. I'm like, okay, sure. Why not?
Why not? There was a couple other ones that I caught, but I didn't write down. But yeah, I was like, this is not simply not correct. They kept getting Ron's name wrong. Like it was like a Rod or something that kept popping up.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah. Ron, Ronnie, and Rod.
Maybe that's why I think he's Cal. Maybe I read Cal a couple times in the.
You probably did. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jeff Bezos. Get your subtitles correct on this on this B movie.
He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't give a shit. The only other note that I had down was the first doctor who admits her. He had an atrocious comb over. That was one of the worst that like 3 strands of hair and giant sideburns. Like that was tough.
I feel like I saw an interview this past week from the Oscars red carpet. It was Amelia de Moldenberg talking to Ethan Hawke, I think, about comb overs and how it never looks good on anyone. Because I'm pretty sure Lorenz Hart in Blue Moon has a comb over, and it's like, that's just an atrocious haircut. Just shave it. Just shave it.
Exactly. Just shave it off. You're going to look so much better. Well, and especially this guy, because it was like, who do you think you're fooling? Like, there's
thin
no
wisp
way.
of a hair. Yeah. It was like 6 strands and a break, and then 6 strands and a break. Like, it was just not good.
Like, I'm happy to say that I never resorted to that. Like, I had some dignity, because it's like, how do you wake up and you're doing that in the mirror?
Yeah, your hair flops to one side, but you're like, oh, let me just bring it back over.
Yeah, you're like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is I'm fooling everybody. This looks really great. Well, since we've resorted to talking about comb overs, do you want to get into fanfare or flop?
Yeah, this is the section where we talk about the box office versus the budget, as well as sort of the critical and audience reaction. First off, no budget found. We cannot find a budget. And the box office numbers that I found was from this publication called American Film Distribution, The Changing Marketplace. It's what's linked in the Wikipedia article. And it's the number of total rentals reported as received to date in dollars. So the Fifth Floor got $3,375,000 in rental fees over the time, versus like Amityville Horror got $35 million. I mean, the similar films to the Fifth Floor were The House on Sorority Row, which was like $3.78 million, and then One Dark Night, which was $3.7 million. But like, this was published in 87. These movies came out in 82 and 83, and Fifth Floor came out in 78. So it's like
78, yeah.
Yeah, it was not accruing at the same rate that, everyone else was. But I also wanted to highlight, for people who, I think everyone knows Siskel and Ebert, they would do Dogs of the Week segment. And this was in Siskel's one week, and this is the quote. The Fifth Floor, the story of a young go-go dancer trapped in a mental institution where she's abused by other patients and by the hospital staff. Sort of a kinky One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Problem with this film is that it's just a cheap shocker that uses a psychiatric hospital tease with that old and sick standby defenseless young woman in peril. Heaven, we've seen enough pictures like that. Bondage freaks may enjoy it when a young woman is tied up in a straitjacket. That's the level of sick thrills in the Fifth Floor, which I advise you to stay off of. So I thought it was fun that he even deigned to give it the time of day. Yeah.
I feel like he did that a lot with just random B movie or like random popcorn crap.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I've had enough of talking about great cinema. Let's throw this in there.
Throws a bone. Yeah.
That's funny to say that. Heavens, haven't we seen enough? And then, almost 50 years later, we're still coming out with stuff like that.
Yeah. He would not be pleased, I'd say.
No.
What about the Alan of it all? How do we feel? Was Alan crucial to this film? I think you can tell by my laughter that I do not think that's the case. It's fine work. It's serviceable, but nothing outstanding.
I think it added to some of the moments of suspense. I do think, like we mentioned before, there were long stretches where there was nothing, like no score whatsoever. And I noticed in the opening credits that there was a music editor on this movie, which is a contrast to some of the other ones we've covered. So maybe that was their decision to just let it breathe a little bit. We don't have to be overbearing with it.
Which is fair. It's a choice. Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I wouldn't say that Alan was the deciding factor. I liked his work. Like we've said every week, he's continuing to build. He's continuing to grow. I liked the callbacks, and he wasn't involved with the disco music, but I thought that was good as well.
Yeah.
Well, we do have one VM this week, so I will play that.
Transmission coming in. Repeat, we have a transmission coming in.
Hello, Sounds of Silvestri, Grace, Clarence. It's Joseph, or Joe Jazzy. I just wanted to do a quick voicemail after watching The Fifth Floor. Not my favorite movie. The movie felt like it didn't really know what tone to take, so there are a lot of moments that felt kind of cheap exploitation film-esque, but it never quite leans far enough into that for me to call it that. And then the other parts just kind of felt like a slower paced, low budget drama that didn't really work super well for me. The villain was very gross. A lot of the performances were kind of hammy and not super convincing. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but there's a lot of stuff that has done this better. I recently saw Unsane, which I think was to this movie's detriment because Unsane was a hell of a lot better than this one. Anyway, I've been enjoying the show. I'm looking forward to what comes next. All right, love you both. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joe. What is Unsane about? I'm guessing a similar plot to this.
So this was covered on Laurie Strode Trap House, which is hosted by our friends Kevin and Anna. And Unsane is, I think it's from 2019. It's a Steven Soderbergh joint. Oh. And it was filmed almost exclusively on an iPhone, which is that's kind of like his thing. Is he's always trying different like technical gimmicks, but it actually looked pretty good. But yeah, it's a similar conceit where it's a woman who is
Claire Foy is in this.
Yes, Claire Foy. Yes, Queen Elizabeth herself. It's not quite involuntary commitment because she does sign the papers, but they're not really explaining, like she's just skimming over it. They don't say like, okay, this is what this is. But it's a similar thing where she's suffering from paranoid delusions and she's facing off against an abuser within the psychiatric hospital.
Oh no. I
do think it's interesting to watch this movie compared to that one because when Reagan was president, one of the big things he did was defund psychiatric hospitals. So you have this movie that's pre that, and then you have Unsane, which is like the fallout, like 30, 40 years later.
I have something about that. So Jimmy Carter really tried to deinstitutionalize places, but then there was no funding for the secondary step of making sure that people had homes to go to or any care at all. So it just sort of exacerbated the issue. Sorry, that was what my research was beforehand looking into this, because of it's like this was 78, Carter was 77 to 81, so it would be the perfect window. But that is a really good juxtaposition to see the two, like where it was versus where it is now and how it's still like not so stellar.
But I would recommend checking it out because it's very good. On Joe's VM, I would disagree about some of the performances. We talked about some of the other ones. I don't know that I would call them hammy. Maybe some of the other tertiaries, but
I don't think they're hammy, I'll be honest. I think for the scenario that they're in, it's pretty realistic. I don't know. Maybe like Hal in the beginning, like maybe that's a little hammy with like the staring back and forth. But then I was just irritated. I wasn't even thinking about like whether it was hammy or not. I was like, just say something.
Oh, I wanted to say, if anybody else wants to share their thoughts on this movie or any of the other movies that we are covering or have covered or will cover, they can send an email to soundsofsilvestri@gmail.com. or leave us a voicemail at 414-295-9966, just like Joe did.
So, Clarence, what are your final thoughts on this film?
Yeah, it's a tough one. And this discussion I've been going back and forth on it because I loved the sense of community. I loved all of Kelly's interactions, and I loved the character building with the fellow patients. And then it also, everything that she goes through made me so upset and so angry on her behalf. But I think when a movie causes that sort of visceral reaction with you, that's a sign that it's effective. So I'm at 4 stars for this movie.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. No, you're right about it being effective. I think this is a good movie, but I would never have watched it if not for this podcast. I would have watched the first 10 minutes and I would have turned it off.
Yep.
And I also don't tend to rate movies highly that I don't enjoy. So I'm just putting that out there. That's not something I usually do. And I don't often feel the need to watch films in which we detail some of the worst of humanity. That's not really something I'm into witnessing.
Yep.
I think we get enough in the day-to-day. I don't need to see any more of it, especially to like elect to watch something. It would never be something I'd put on. I would turn it off. I think the performances are good. I think the plot is good overall. I think it's just a really depressing, hard watch that leaves me feeling bad. And I don't need every movie to be uplifting. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that this is not something I would choose to watch, and that does impact my rating. I don't think it's the worst thing we're gonna have seen, but I also think it's the worst thing that I've seen so far for this podcast.
Yeah, most depressing for sure.
Yes, and there are moments of levity and the other ones that I think raise it up a little bit higher, or even just moments of more unique scoring, which is sort of the point of the show, right? To like highlight Alan's work, and this work itself does not highlight his musical talents or just any creativity. I feel like it feels very, if it does, I don't know if it feels one note, but there's not much there. There's not much substance. But I liked it, like, so I like to sort of keep my ratings not necessarily consistent, but I like to have, I'd like to have it make sense across all of my things. And I'm gonna have to give it a 1.5. I don't ever want to watch this again. I'm not a fan.
Fair. That's fair.
Not as bad as some other things I've seen recently, but I'm just like, I'm so done with it. I think it's so hard to stomach in a way that is good because it's highlighting something important.
Right.
But because this is made like almost for mass consumption in that way, where it's like it's not like treating it's not necessarily treating the story with care.
Yeah. No, I think that reasoning makes perfect sense. And yeah, it's all an individual thing, right? Like you have to know, you have to take care of yourself. You have to know, like you said, I'm not going to subject myself to this again, like this. Yeah. So I think that makes perfect sense. I will say it's going to be interesting as we get further into this journey, you trying to keep some consistency, like when we're 100 episodes in, that's going to be,
I know.
That'll be fun to see.
It'll be what it is, and I'll eat crow then if I can't keep it together. I want to feel true to my current, my current experience, and like also we're gonna grow and change over these next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
so like
4 or 5 years,
things will feel different, and we'll experience things differently. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be ones that I like less or more than this, but because of different reasons. I just think the subject matter is really hard to stomach, and I don't want to engage with that material necessarily.
No, that's totally fair. Totally fair. All right. Well, speaking of engaging with that material, should we talk about what we may or may not be covering?
Yes. So as we mentioned in our last episode, we're having a little trouble, not a little, we're having a lot of trouble sourcing our next film, which would be Tiger Man from either 1978 or 1983, depending on the distributor. This is directed by Matt Simber, and it is a action kung fu film. This is the synopsis or the blurb on Letterboxd. Don Juan's father dies and his home is burned, so he decides to go off to learn kung fu. 10 years later in the city of Taipei, Don interferes with the Tongs while defending his best friend. The gangsters swear that Don can never hide. They'll find him and kill him. Don's mom gives him money that she saved and tells him to go to America where he'll be safe, but it's not enough. So he ends up in Hong Kong and the gangsters catch up to him again. So we've made contact with people that might be able to get us a copy of this. But honestly, even if that works, it probably would not be next week, I'm assuming, just based on like how things are going right now. We should mention that this has only been watched by 7 people on Letterboxd. And it is not available on DVD anywhere. Clarence almost had to commit. I don't know what we would call it.
I was almost a victim of identity theft.
Fraud.
Our friend Eric found this site FLK Cinema, which is like kung fu, and God bless him. I appreciate Eric for doing the work, but yeah, there was no way I was going to put my card info to buy this movie.
Joe was saying we get a Visa prepaid card and see what happens, like $25, see what goes down. But we don't have any funds in the Sounds of Silvestri.
That's it.
We don't have
That's
there's
it.
no funds in the account. So
listen, if any of our listeners want to take the plunge and go on that site and buy the movie,
secure us the copy.
and then,
yeah.
Exactly. And then do humanity a favor and put it on Internet Archive so that people can see this thing.
Jesus, yeah. That's option number 1, which we think unlikely.
Yeah.
Option number 2 is in season 2 of the TV show CHiPs, our friend Alan makes his first appearance. So we could, in theory, watch episode 1 of season 2, which this is the synopsis of, or the blurb of that. An accident victim, Ponch and Jon. An accident. Oh, Jesus. There's supposed to be like
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. An accident victim, Ponch and Jon is. I can't. There's a guy.
It's an accident victim, Ponch and Jon.
And Jon helped. No, it doesn't make sense.
Let me look this up. Hang on.
IMDb is failing me.
Jesus. Here we go. I'm on the CHiPs Wikipedia.
Well, I'm on the one for Apple TV. Should I do that one?
That'll work. It's got to be better than the IMDb.
It was not a sentence happening. After Jon and Ponch stop a speeding sports car, they arrive at the scene of a camper driven by Bob Niles, which has crashed over the side of a hill. In other action, Ponch is a star performer at a disco party. Ooh, a tie-in.
Hey, there
While
we go.
there, a lady goes into labor and the cops have to deliver a baby. So this is Alan's first appearance as the composer for CHiPs.
Which he would go on. He was the lead composer for I think 5 or 6 seasons after this. So this is what he was working on for the bulk of like 78 through 83. Yeah. He transitioned to TV. So that's the other option. I guess you'll find out which one we're doing when you look at the title of the next episode. That'll be your indication.
Mm-hmm. I guess once we record, I can put it on the Instagram.
Yeah, so that's a good idea.
Know. But yeah, we're really hoping Tiger Man comes through, but I do not think it will happen in 2 weeks.
Well, that's the thing is like, even if we can get a copy, we're going to talk about a movie that nobody else has seen. Like that's not
and then we'll be the
for
lead
anybody.
link. We'll be the lead link that.
Yes.
And then if we get the copy, like, do we have to ask them for permission to put on Internet Archive, or can we just put it on?
Yeah, it's a lot involved there.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I don't know.
We're trying
Fingers
our best.
crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Grace has a lot of emails, a lot of messages out there to people.
I'm trying to
as we've said, nobody responds to us. So that's the issue.
Hey, but this guy did, and this could be the make or break point for this movie. So I don't want to say anything until I get a definitive response from him. But I feel optimistic currently at 9:18 on Wednesday, March 18th. I'm feeling great right now about our chances.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to keep up with all things SOS, you can follow the show on Instagram at Sounds of Silvestri. You can also reach out to us at soundsofsilvestri@gmail.com or leave a message at 414-295-9966. We are both on Letterboxd. Clarence is at CK_LB and I am at GraceEllen_. This episode was edited by Clarence with production help from Dave and Ben. And as always, a big thank you to Alan Silvestri. Bye!